Obsidian Tongue is why you have clicked this video. Eclipsing Worlds of Scorn. I believe this is the fourth album from American atmospheric progressive black metal band. Been around for a while, Mike. 2009, I believe they kind of formed.
Yeah, and honestly like maybe I've heard the name, but I've never listened to them, considering they've been around for such a long time.
No, me neither. I think you kind of shared this, and because what album did it come out on? Profound Law, was it?
Profound Law. So I sort of thought, you know what, this is probably worth a go. And what did you say, John, when I sent you one of their pre-release songs?
I said this is
Remember?
a very. I said this. They're very nice gentlemen, and what a great band this is.
just in case for some reason they end up watching.
Yeah,
Um,
listen, I'm not. Yeah, not gonna lie. Straight off the bat, I was like, no, this is not my kind of black metal at all. It's very. It's got that kind of new wave, like that new American, US black metal, like Wolves in the Throne Room, in its kind of like triumphant grandeur, but then it's also got a lot of like clean. I don't want to say uplifting, but like it's got that kind of like twinkly, shoegazy kind of cleanness to it, hasn't it?
it does, yeah. I mean, this album's got a lot to it, really, hasn't it? There's quite a lot going on. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Let me just jump in actually and say that was my initial reaction, and I'm very reactionary. So
Very reactionary man.
after spending a lot of time with it,
Yeah.
my opinion has changed somewhat.
You're like, do you know
It's
what you're like? Do you know
yeah, got
you're like you're reactionary John. You're like Fuba Wooba John. So they have a reactionary John.
the new nickname, the new channel, reactionary. I am. How do you feel
Hang on,
about
hang
this,
on,
Mike?
hang on. I feel like I'm peeking over the top of my microphone. Wait a minute. I feel like I'm just trying to peek over. Let me elevate my laptop a little bit more. That's better, isn't it?
Oh, that's better.
I
Look
thought I was
at
like peeking over a fence, like the neighbour in Home Improvement.
that. Yeah, how do you feel about this, Mike? Because like, all right, listen, welcome to Crypt of Wax. We review the latest metal records, but what we do is we kind of don't really ever talk about it between ourselves in the week, and we come into the show fresh. So we kind of it's a more discussion than a kind of review. So yeah, I'm keen to know what you think about this, Mike.
Well, I have to say, right, so that I'm going to defend John a bit, because that I feel like the song that you made your assessment of
Hmm.
on this album was probably the song I liked the least on this on the album, which I think was, if I'm not wrong, it was shit. It was it to was it
Was it to
to
forgive
forgive
oneself?
oneself, which
Yeah, I
for
believe it
me
was.
was the song on the album that I thought maybe was the best in that sense. But I have to say, the bulk of this album I thought was fucking outstanding in places. I really did. Like, some of it was incredible, in my opinion.
Yeah. There was there was a lot of influence from a lot of kind of other genres, not necessarily black metal, which you can
Mm,
really hear throughout. You had some really like Tool-esque progressive
yeah,
cleaner sections. You almost had like shades of like early noughties, like post-hardcore moments.
yeah,
Especially with that song, "To Forgive Oneself." Like the intro for that was, it was like hopeful worship almost. It had that
yeah. The
real,
Trust Kelly, wasn't it?
yeah, it's very Trustkill, which was quite interesting, and it did hit a kind of nostalgia nerve, which I
I
kind of
got a
grew
bit of
to.
nostalgia of this, John. There was some nostalgia little hits for me on here, and
Weird, isn't it?
also done well that it didn't sort of. It wasn't nostalgia in a way. I was in like, oh, did I just listen to that? It was
Yeah,
like it hit it in
yeah.
the right ways. It just sort of took you back to why you enjoyed that when when you were younger.
Yes, it was, and I really enjoyed their like kind of their pulling of influences. I feel that the band, for me, like as a personal take, shined the most when they hit you with their kind of blasts and
Mm.
their more triumphant but somewhat evil black metal. I think that was where it really kind of hit its peak for this record,
Oh,
and mostly for that was the last song.
well, I was going to say, did you think that they could have done a bit more of that peppered throughout?
Yeah, I do. I really do. It was such a weird listen, man. This album because I really went on a journey with it. I think the whole album is quite like a journey in itself. But I went through like lots of like peaks and troughs of like loving it, but then kind of hating it. But then there was what I really enjoyed about it was like when I finished, there was something about it that drew me back in, and I kind of wanted to listen to it again, even though I wasn't taken by all of it, which is quite rare for an album to do that with me as well, because I'm quite like we said, reactionary.
I, f- I felt that when this album hit its highs, and for me, I'd say it hit its highs for probably the bulk of the album. There was just moments when it was absolutely incredible, like music, and I felt like they're obviously doing this take on black metal that's this kind of, trying to get in other sounds, trying to push it in different directions. And I felt that when they did it right, Obsidian, which they did, I felt for most of the album, it was the best I'd heard
Really?
in that regard. Some of it, I mean, some of it was absolutely amazing. You talk about the last song, that
Yeah.
was incredible. There was, I think I know the bit you're talking about. There's a bit with the blast when it goes quite dark, and then you get these kind of post metal backing vocals that sort of come in.
I
Is
think
that the bit you're one of the bits you're sort of talking about with like,
Yeah, it was around 3:30. It was, like, really evil atmospheric, but you also had, like, an acoustic guitar under it, kind of, like,
yeah,
plucking some of the notes, and then it got really, like, kind of powerful, and then it went into, like, this blasted section with these synths going over it. It was like, for me, it was huge. It really felt like a good ender. It felt very grandiose.
yeah,
It had a lot of atmosphere, and then I also want to go back and touch on track 2, Snakeskin Tunnel Colony. I think that was Colony. I think that was maybe my second favorite song. There was like a lead synth line that sort of came in around like 1:30,
yeah.
and it was really catchy and really triumphant. But it was just so well done, man. It was really like a little earworm.
And after that bit, they did. You're talking about the Tool influence. They did a bit after
Yes,
that that was like it wasn't clean. It was a distorted, but it had that kind of proggy sort of Tool thing, and it
it had the
worked
hi hat.
so
It
well.
was
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It was the drumming groove on it that kind of really made it feel like a tool section, wasn't it?
Can we just mention the drummer because I thought he was fucking unreal.
Yeah, so they're a two-piece, right? I
Yeah,
think one guy does the bulk of the writing, vocals, guitar, bass, and then the other guy does the drums.
yeah.
I think it started out actually as just a solo project, but then he
That's correct.
brought
Yeah, got him in. But
brought, brought
he was his performance on this album. I thought the drummer was unbelievable. Like in places, he did some really cool, interesting fills that you won't quite expect. And
yeah,
I wonder whether they like he's got that kind of Tool influence on there because he did some
it's
real
got to be.
interesting stuff. Like,
Yeah,
um,
I think drummers of our age grew up with Danny Carey as probably one of their favorite drummers, right?
yeah,
So that's probably a fair take.
yeah,
I so yeah, like just kind of digging into this band a little bit. I actually looked at what some of the other members were in, and there was they're in a band called Blood Chariot together as well, um, which I recommend you check out because it's way more like raw and chaotic, like shades of kind of like Spirit Possession in its kind
oh
of
wow,
chaotic sound. Yeah, like they're clearly very well accomplished musicians, and
yeah.
that comes across in this release, man. It really does.
Oh, it does. I mean, it's one of those where you listen to it and the attention to detail and like kind of love that you can hear has been put into this album is really apparent. I mean, I just want to maybe touch on a few songs. I agree with you as well. Track 2, Snakeskin Tunnel Colony, which is a good song name,
Yeah,
was probably my highlight. That one had that I noted down that one had like the kind of post-hardcore vibe in places with some of the chord
yeah.
sections, some of the drum rhythms that he did as well in some of the sort of more verse parts of it hit those sort of notes to me, and I enjoyed it. But I felt that that song mixed the light and dark quite well. Even like the opening riff was maybe a little bit darker, a bit heavier than what you'd
Yeah,
heard on the previous song, and I felt that they mixed that really nicely. Um,
there was a
and
lot of
actually,
contrast on this album, wasn't there?
yeah. What about his song vocals?
See, this is a kind of part where I'm on the fence with the sung vocals. There was in track one, he sings it, and they're not too. They sit really nicely in the
Quite
mix. They're
buried,
not.
aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it works better at that point. But um, later in the album, they're kind of a lot more upfront, and there was something about it that didn't quite sit well with me. But they were okay. It was like it was quite a nice like different take on it.
I think I agree with you, but I think on track two, there's a bit where they're up in the mix, and they work well with what he's doing. He's got that kind of Interpol sort of
Mm.
vibe to it, and it works in that. But then on track four, I believe, or five, no, four, to forgive
Four,
oneself,
yeah. That's where I
his
really
singing,
didn't.
his singing on that, I didn't.
I
I
didn't take.
it was just actually his delivery and melody and stuff that he picked. I just did not get on with it, and it
Yeah,
kind of made that song a bit of a skipper for me in general.
yeah. It was weird, that song, man. I think that did it worked. It worked in the sense of like it did bring in all these like influences that we spoke about. But I think that was the kind of song that I heard initially, and I think it isn't a good representation of what this band can actually do.
John, just to interrupt, sorry, can you hear banging in the background?
No.
Okay. Well, if anyone can, that's people doing some work at my house. That's not sort of someone trying to escape that I've locked in a room somewhere.
Yeah, but now you've really made it
Just to
feel like
clarify, I
that
know
is
the
what
fact
is
I've said it makes it sound guilty. Um, that's also the police banging on my door.
getting raided mid
Yeah.
show.
Um,
How did you
sorry.
feel? How did
Yeah,
you
go on.
feel about their kind of track five? At first, I thought it was going to be like an interlude, or maybe just start off with like a clean intro. But the whole track, like 4 minutes long, was actually just like a kind of clean piece, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was a good, clean piece, but
Yeah,
it it didn't do much for me. Again,
yeah,
I could skip I could skip the song before and that one and go straight to the last song because that's kind of where I want to get to, and
yeah.
I don't really want to wait. It's quite long, isn't it? It's a good 4 5 minutes, isn't it? That
The,
acoustic one.
what?
It's
Yeah, it was four. It was just over 4 minutes. There was a really nice change in it. It was like a change around 320. It kind of went a bit more kind of evil, and the undertone of kind of darkness came through, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I'm on the same as you. Like, didn't need to be 4 minutes. I think you could have condensed that down a little
yeah,
bit. But saying that, the whole album falls in our realm of good length, doesn't it?
it was a good length. It was.
Great length.
It's I mean, I think this album's great. I mean, apart if you'd have taken out that to forgive oneself and even left in the acoustic thing, I think I would have rated it higher. The fact I've got not that we're rating, but the fact I feel like there's a skippable track on there
Yeah,
is kind of lowers my feeling of the album in general. But I mean, I thought track one was brilliant as well. By the way,
yeah. Me too. Me
there was a
too.
bit in that where they kind of did. Did I write? I don't think I did like a time check thing on there, but there was a small section where they did kind of a little bit more of a traditional black metal kind of tremolo bit, and it was done really well and sounded great within the song. And it did make me think, fuck, I wish they dipped into this a little bit more within their sounds because
Yeah.
I think when they mixed that in right, just for that brief second, it was it was a great little energetic bit that they added to it in amongst their blast parts, and it worked really well.
I think there'll be an audience that will find this album like impeccable, like
Mm,
that are kind of not so heavily into the kind of rawer black metal that like that kind of prolonged blast
mm,
and chaotic energy, but that enjoy that kind of diversity of clean to soft to hard to fast
mm.
to slow. Um, I think that this will probably feature on quite a lot of lists at the end of the year. Which I mean, good for them, man. Like they have nailed that kind of sound.
I mean, I mean, I could see it appearing on mine potentially as the year
Oh,
goes on
well,
because I'm not
watch this space.
watch this space because I definitely think I'll go back to this album.
Do
There's
ya?
some really top tier moments in this for me, and they're one of those bands. You talk about the kind of people into raw black metal and stuff. production wise, this album, it's not overproduced in the slightest. It's actually got a really nice. I think the production's perfect for what they're trying to do. It
Didn't you
was
say it was analog?
yeah, analog recorded as well, and I think everything
That's cool.
sounds really nice. It's not. Don't go into this thinking you're going to get that kind of Death Heaven production where it's like everything's massive, like overproduced. It's got that kind of organic warmth to it, and the drums, they're not sort of sitting up and sounding massive and triggered or anything like that. It's all
No.
it's very organic sounding, and I think perfect for what they're trying to achieve with this musically.
Lots of atmosphere, but then saying that it does still hit that level of like huge in the right moments. I think.
Yeah,
I think that does
definitely.
come across. But yeah, I think this is definitely one to kind of check out if you're into kind of black metal or like post hardcore, which is a bit of a weird.
Post metal as well.
Yeah, post metal, yeah, and prog. Listen, there's a lot to check out. I think it's probably worth your time, and check out their other band as well, Mike Blood Chariot,
I'm going to
and
do
other
that.
listeners.
John,
It's cool. Yes,
are you surprised they're not bigger than they are?
I can hear someone trying to escape, Mike.
I know. They won't get out.
Look, you're just
Yeah,
smiling through it.
yeah. They're not going to get
I
past.
I think this record might not catapult per se, but get them into the ears of a lot more people.
Thing is, they've been going a long time, haven't they? I'm just surprised they're not maybe on a similar-ish level to say Wolves in the Throne Room. I'm surprised they're not kind of viewed in at least on a larger scale in the underground scene, because I hadn't heard them, and I don't think I'd even heard of them.
No, I'm in the same. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where they kind of get propelled by this, because I do think this will be. Was this the first on Profound Law as well, or have they been
Don't
on there
know.
for a while?
Do you like the artwork, John?
I did. I
Yeah, I
mean,
did.
again, very tall.
Yeah,
Very tall. I like their logo. It's kind of black metal, but like proggy and a bit avant-garde.
yeah.
And then yeah, I think as a package, it's done really well, man.
The art suits the music, doesn't it? It's got the nods to black metal, but it's got kind of the nods to some of the other styles thrown in as well, all
Yeah,
done in a
it's
way that's
true.
sort of not sort of too non-committal to each one. It works perfectly with what it is musically.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, man. Cool. I think yeah, check this one out, everyone, and let us know what you think in the comments. Do subscribe if you like what you heard, because we put out videos every Wednesday and Friday covering the latest metal releases. So give us a like and a subscribe, and we will catch you in the next one.